All right, what do you want to do the fireside chat on? Hey, everybody, glad you're here. I got the camera right at eye level with us, and we're going to have a fireside chat. So if you're sitting down in your living room, leave in the comments whatever you'd like to add to the conversation. We'll bring it up. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, man, yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Just everything Chris and I have been talking about today and over the last couple of days, everything what Chris calls him China number 11. And that he's been meeting
President 11.
President
Mr.
11,
11.
Mr. 11. He's been meeting in Saudi Arabia and Russia and just the dollar and the petrodollar and gold and silver and Bitcoin and man, you just name it. Heck, we can even talk about chickens. I mean, there is so much that's been going on. So I thought we would just have a fireside chat and let's just see what comes out of it. And I was curious to focus on President 11's visit to Saudi Arabia. That's just been slipping under the radar.
While everybody's watching Twitter and
Elon Musk
showing their hand over there.
Yep.
Mr. 11 is busy in the capital of Saudi Arabia. He's wheeling and dealing over there. They're going to trade in a different currency to buy oil. I've got a article off of Reuters Stacey pulled up earlier. I'll put it in the description. I'll pin it in the comments. Check it out, and I'm going to read you some of it, but
well,
really
actually,
crazy.
this article actually came off of my gold silver group. So I'm part of a gold silver group that I get to talk with every single day, and we provide information back and forth. And this came off from their group. It's off of a Reuters, or I guess that's how you say that.
Reuters. I don't know.
Reuters.
It's got an E and a U together. I think the E sounds like it is.
But basically it's saying that China's president, we call him number 11, he went to Riyadh. I believe that's how you say that correctly. If you're not, you guys can correct me. And it completely completely gone under the radar. And here's the interesting thing. He is discussing a deal that happened back in August that no one is talking about, where Russia and China, two big corporations, joined together and they created a deal. And it still is not being talked about. We talked about it in a video that we did, and I still don't hear people talking about it. And because of that joint corporation that they're doing together, now he's gone to Saudi Arabia and he's saying, hey, you guys, we don't need to use the U.S. dollars anymore. Let's use the Chinese yuan.
Why would they not? Why would they do anything different? They're going to use our currency that we're debasing. Why would they look for a better currency? I would. I mean, Russia wants to take gold or rubles. Yep. And, I think they're all working together and they're doing business outside of the dollar. And that's essentially probably what's going to be, the final nail in the coffin of the dollar is when other countries are using different currencies. I'd like to read a little bit of this story.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
While much of the conversation in the U.S. today is focused on Twitter and so forth, President 11 from China was in Riyadh wooing the Gulf Cooperation Council and making power moves in the international oil markets. The prospect of countries like China and Russia convincing those who dominate oil markets in the Middle East to begin settling oil trades in currencies other than the U.S. dollar is something that the U.S. empire should be very worried about. I completely agree.
I do.
And like we said before, this Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. Yep. There have been small steps that have been taken in the last 4 years that have gotten us to this point. Yep. Politically posturing from Mr. 11, which is the president of China. That's just what it says here.
That's what we call
it. No Roman numerals. Putin and others explaining their intent to begin making trades. Today was an escalation, with China signaling that they have the necessary exchange infrastructure in place to begin settling their oil purchases from Saudi Arabia and other producers in the Middle East in Yuan.
Yep.
This is serious.
Yep.
This is I got a little bit more.
So I just want to stop you real quick right there. Okay. So I think people forget that when the 1970s or whatever, when they took us off the gold market, when that was the only thing that really
1971.
The only really thing that gave us credibility was that Kissinger went over there, and yes, we became the world reserve currency because we said, hey, you guys, every time you want to make an exchange, you've got to use the U.S. dollars. And so there's been a lot of belief in the U.S. dollars.
We didn't become the world reserve currency in 71.
No, we didn't. I'm sorry. You backed that up.
44.
You're right. It was after World War II. You're exactly right. I apologize.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. I just don't want to
But after they took us, the only thing
They took us off the gold standard.
in 71, you're right, and that's the only thing that really gave us faith in the U.S. dollars is because we
It was backed by gold.
Well, and then after they but it was still that they said faith that we were going to be who we were. But if you start now taking us off the petrodollar, that's one more chink. That's a way that's just nicking away at our belief. And we're $30 trillion in debt now. So if they start raising the interest rate, sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. But fireside chat, here we go. But
sure.
It's something to think about, to say, hey, so where does that leave us if they start saying, hey, we're not going to do in dollars anymore, and we're that much in debt and interest rates are going up? I think it's just something to think about. You just can't bury your head in the sand.
It's not that we want the currency to collapse to use another country's currency. That's not what I want.
No, I don't.
I heard somebody saying that the other day. These people want the dollar to collapse. That's unpatriotic. That's not it. I don't have anything to do with the way the government spends money like a drunken sailor. That's how we got in this predicament.
Yeah.
That's why our dollars will probably lose another 50% of purchasing power. That's the way I like to do things. I like to make the problem bigger. So if you think it's a problem now with inflation and the dollar's buying less, just make it just a little bit bigger and just say it bought 50% less than what it does now. Mm-hmm. What does that make you want to do? What does that make you want to... It'll put you thinking about other commodities, other assets, things that do well in that kind of environment. And I'm not even talking about gold and silver. We hold gold and silver, but that's not what this video is about. I was kind of impressed on what they pointed out in the Reuters article.
Keep going. He does. I interrupted him, but keep going. This is interesting.
Okay. Why prop up demand for the dollar when the U.S. is sanctioning or levying burdensome tariffs on your economy? Well, why would you do that? Why would you want to keep using a currency that's just burying you? Working a deal with oil-producing countries to settle in your native currency is a very logical thing to do. I completely agree. Now, eventually, everyone is going to become privy to this glaringly obvious fact and begin settling their trades in Bitcoin. Whoa! I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either.
It probably won't be happening in the short term or medium term because the Bitcoin market needs to become significantly more liquid before taking on settlement trades of this size. I completely agree that it needs to become more liquid. I mean, it needs to settle down and we need to figure out what's going on. Right. But I completely agree that people are moving out of the dollar. Countries are moving out of the dollar. What I don't know, nobody knows is what they're going to use. This person thought it was Bitcoin. I didn't really see that coming, because countries have been buying gold and silver.
Right.
But that's one of those other things, You've got oil. That's something that countries trade. Gold, they trade gold back and forth. Russia will take gold for their oil. The U.S. dollars, that's one. Yep. That's looks like that's being pushed to the side.
It's not the only thing on the table anymore, which that used to be the only thing on the table. And I think this is where you have a strong point, and this is where you're really good at thinking outside the box, and you see beyond the picture, and you say, hey, let's think about other options. You were way on board with Bitcoin way before I was even thinking about it. And I think that's where your strong point is you're like, hey, look, I see this coming down the road. You've got to think outside the box. Yes. Do I want the dollar to fail? Heck no. But is there a possibility? So we have to take options and go, what if? You always have to be thinking that, I think, or you're not paying attention.
Yeah, you just can't be so binary. This is the way it is. It's either this way or that way, and that's it. You really have to keep your mind open. Not too open or your brains will fall out. But, Bitcoin was being mined like crazy in China. Mm-hmm. They mined 22% of it in 2021. And now I've read they're starting to ramp up their Bitcoin mining again. The U.S. is still mining the most. From what I understand, I'm not the crypto guy, okay? I'm just telling you, this is a thing, whether we think it's fugazi or not. You might look at it when it looks really ugly. When they put everybody in a bind where they have to sell their Bitcoin for nothing, just to pay the bills or whatever, I think these superpowers are going to start buying it up. Just like the gold, just like real estate and farmland and every other asset on the planet. So just that's something to watch. That was kind of
it's just another little dot to connect. Just like we've been watching certain people in this world that have been buying up farmland. We've been watching certain countries and banks buying up gold and silver. We've been watching certain people buy up certain commodities. It's just another dot to connect and go, wait a minute, let me pay attention. What does this mean? And I think that's where it is. And I kind of got a little bit of interesting when they said that we're so focused, the United States right now, on Twitter. And I think sometimes the media puts things in our faces that completely distracts us from what is really going on. And yes, Twitter is interesting right now. What is going on? And I know I'm going off on a side, but we're on a fireside chat, so I can go off on side thing here. But yes, Twitter is interesting. It is what's going on. But I don't want it to, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Move us away from what is really going on in the world regarding everything, regarding our gold, regarding precious metals, regarding political stuff, everything, our money, and everything. But Twitter it's interesting. And you guys, you did a poll that was interesting. And
yeah, about
Twitter's
Elon,
an interesting thing that's going on right now.
Those thoughts run through my head. I wonder what the bigger picture looks like.
Well, I know a lot of big social people are leaving Twitter right now. So I don't know, but I don't want them to use things like that to mask what's really going on little things that fly under the radar, like President 11 visiting,
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
To work out deals in Yuan. And
yeah.
Not use the petrodollar.
And completely go under the radar. And I think that's what's
happening.
It's already
going on. It's been going on.
It has
It's just,
been.
They'd be crazy not to do that. I'd want to do that. I'd want to use my own currency, wouldn't you? When you want to use gold or something you had control over, remember, China doesn't let any gold out.
No, they don't.
And they would lie when the truth would do better. They were the secret buyer of the several hundred tons of gold that nobody knew where it went. It was them. I mean, this is, it's happening. It's just a lot slower. It's a whole lot slower than I thought it would be. When we started down this journey 5-6 years ago.
Longer than that. But yeah.
Well, really.
Oh yeah, before it became obvious. You're right.
Yeah, before. I mean, I kind of knew something was wrong, but I kept thinking, surely this is fixing to happen. This is fixing to happen, and then the bat flu hit us, and I was like, all right, this has got to be it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you kind of see things happen, and yeah, a lot happened, but it wasn't the big one. It sure did look like it though.
It did.
It really looked like.
It did.
When that stuff was coming from China, and we were running around telling everybody, and they were like, "We'll worry about that when it gets to North Louisiana," And but we kind of came out of that, and I think we've got this recession depression thing to do, and I think we're going to come out of it with some really wild inflation, and it might not be this time, but I think it'll probably be next time.
I don't know. It's just stuff that we keep putting the dots together. We keep listening to little things that fly under the radar. Keep putting the pieces together. And if you guys have information or little things that we're missing, please let us know. I would like to know. You guys send me information sometimes, and I've started watching a couple YouTube videos because of you guys, of different people. Mr. Charles, hey, by the way, Wade, thank you so much for the salt that you sent us. And
I used it today.
Yeah.
The garlic
pepper.
Redmond salt.
Yes.
Redmond's real salt. He knew I liked that stuff.
Yes.
It's mined in Utah, and it's a pink ancient sea salt that's not from Pakistan.
It's from Utah.
Himalayan pink salt is from Pakistan. So I don't want anything to do with it. So I choose to buy Redmond's real salt. He heard me say that, I guess, and he was going to see family, so he went by there to check it out, and it must have been really cool. He sent me chunks of salt.
He eats it. He loves it. He loves it. So when he heard we loved it, he was like, "Oh, you guys got it," and he sent us stuff that we didn't even own. And by the way, we're so glad. I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm so glad you're doing so much better. He's been recovering from cancer. His voice sounds so much more amazing. Mr. Wade, I can't wait to talk to you again and hear your voice sound stronger and stronger every day. And just Miss Sandy, you guys had prayers over her the other day when I mentioned about her with her RA. She said she actually had a couple really good days. So you guys, this community works. It's amazing. I love being a part of it. And
hey, I also want to put Michaela Peterson, this Jordan Peterson's daughter, had debilitating autoimmune disorder. I mean, she had it since she was a little kid, and her ankles deteriorated. She had ankle replacements. It is like, it's got to be the toughest girl you've ever seen. She's beautiful. I mean, she's 100% nothing wrong with her now. And she went carnivore. She's been carnivore for 5 solid years. Doesn't eat anything but lamb, beef, and sometimes bison.
Pork.
And that is it.
She did mention a little pork. Didn't she? No?
That.
Oh, I didn't hear that?
I did not
okay.
hear that.
Then I missed that. Sorry, my bad.
Lamb, beef, and bison. And she called them crispy things. She would shave off the bison, and because that's a really strict diet. It's not that she wants to do that. She would love to eat everything else. But if you've got debilitating arthritis that is just it's actually killing you, you can't function, you might think about it. I just can't imagine eating meat every day, but if it healed you, if it got,
I would do it.
Took out the inflammation, you'll do anything. She does the incredible. She eats really strict, but she has no symptoms. It's really cool. So I just want to put that out there. I'll put it in the description as well.
Right.
So is that about it?
That's it.
All right, guys. I hope we all had an awesome week and hope you have a wonderful weekend. But right now, I want you to have an awesome, awesome day. Later. Watch out, Skippy.